Okay, first off, let me preface this. Obviously, we have guests here, and I also want everybody to know that I had a full show prepared until everything that happened today. So we got the text message that Charlie Kirk was murdered, shot. I would even go as far to say as assassinated. So to join me today to give their thoughts on today's whatever happened, that we're still trying to get details on, not even taking into account everything else that happened this week, which was insane. So I have my brother, the host of the Manuel Fontes Show, also co-host of Random Thoughts with Manuel and George. I've got Kate, the Duchess of New Jersey, host of Boomer Bunker podcast. She's there on the bottom over there, depending on how you look at this, probably bottom left. Bottom right, Jesse Rucinski. He's been on the show a few times. Thank you, Jesse, for being here, host of the Jesse Rucinski Show. With that being said, I think this hit everybody. I don't know if it hit everybody on a personal level, but it definitely woke everybody up, given the rhetoric and everything that's been going on lately. We definitely can't ignore there hasn't been a narrative that's been pushed by the media and even in the institutional educational organizations, right, or the educational institutions themselves. Charlie Kirk was in Utah doing what he does, which is basically giving speeches, allowing people to give their opinions, and then he would then debate them. But somebody thought it was the right time to take him out for no other reason than challenging narratives and giving his opinions. I don't have a lot of detail. And given the fact that we're doing this with all of you here, I'm not sure I'm going to do a lot of videos and clips. I think everybody's seen everything. It's just a matter of let's just discuss the event. Let's discuss what might have led to this. I know it's a lot of conjecture. We're going to be guessing because there's still a lot of details that need to come out, right? So I'm going to start with Jesse here because I know I spoke to you earlier today and you had a few things that you were digging up. But seriously, this is something that's a bit somber. To me, it's a confirmation of the divide in America right now, the unfortunate divide, and it's not, in my opinion, a divide that somebody wakes up, looks at your neighbor, and goes, "Screw that person, fuck that guy," whatever. I think it's just people being conditioned over time, psychologically through, as I said, the messaging, the narrative. Even the words in print. If you see something enough, you start to accept it. If I say, for example, my brother Manuel over there is a dog enough times, and you start to hear it every day, then you're going to eventually say, yeah, that guy's a dog. Just the same playbook that the Nazis pulled, correct? And that's what they did over time. Tell a lie enough and it becomes a truth. And that's what we've been dealing with in America, unfortunately, and also in the UK. But we're going to focus on the events that happened here today. Jesse, what have you found, uncovered, and what are your thoughts on what happened in regard to Charlie Kirk and what that means for America right now moving forward? Because it seems like we're definitely a powder keg. Feels to me like the bomb, the fuse on the bomb, it hasn't been lit, but it's been cut shorter and shorter. And we're at the point that just a spark's just going to make it blow. What do you think?
You're right. No, there's an easy one. You're right. I think it's a steaming pile of shit that's been brewing for 15 or so years. I don't know. I was on active duty when at least when it got like crazy, because at least 20 years ago we could still find something to agree with on people. Now it's just this is a brick wall.
Yeah.
It sounds like one too. But that's, I don't know. I finally figured out, got myself up to even do this, but it's disgusting. I've seen a lot of people like my buddy Larry, and he's even more miserable than me. I know that's hard to believe, but he compared it to like the MLK, Martin Luther King thing. My sister said it was right around it. And pretty much the word fascist and Nazi has been getting flung around for however many years now. And remember, we have to stop them at all costs. And well, today we figured that shit out. Terribly, by the way. And I don't know, I've just seen too much bullshit back and forth. I don't know if you've been, I sent you some of the stuff that I saw while I was just trying to, get the ire back earlier inside of me to do this.
Yeah, and I also got a text message from my nephew. I won't reveal too much about him because, whatever. But he was able to get a video from the crowd. And you could see the shot clear as day, straight into the neck. it was a hit. It was an assassination,
Yeah.
period. That was not something that anyone about 200 to 300 yards out, according to my nephew's estimate, and looking at the entry wound, he was saying, yeah, there's no way he's alive.
That was way too precise to just be a
Extremely
random thing to be
extremely precise, right in the throat. And
wherever you don't need it to be.
Yeah. So what do you think led to this? Anybody? I mean, at this point, we can just start chiming in. Duchess, do you have any words on this? Anything that you think?
Jesse had said it's like you had also indicated it was like the fuse getting shorter and shorter.
Right.
And I feel like that is a catalyst. I'm very concerned about what's going to happen the next few days. Ironic that this happened right before 9/11 tomorrow.
True.
That's,
that didn't even register for me. I've been so busy.
I didn't even have that thought.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm in Jersey, so it's kind of, it's close, and it's I guess close to home, so to speak. But I think that just people are so callous, and it's just, I mean, I found that I was just scrolling when I heard about it, start scrolling, right? And the video just, I'm like, oh, what's this? And it was that clear as day shot, which I was not happy to see. No warning, no nothing, like don't play. Like it auto played when it came up, and I was not happy to see that. And it's heartbreaking. He's 31, like he's young. He's got a family, young kids, and it's just, the fact that he's out there and it is an assassination. Someone deliberately shot him. There's no, oops, my gun went off like MSNBC is doing. Like maybe, please don't even get me started on that.
I can't even believe that MSNBC reported that. It was a supporter who was shooting their gun off in celebration.
Please.
No, it's MSNBC.
Gun owners don't know how to handle the gun.
And beyond that, I also have I'm not going to post any, but just when I was gleaming some of the news headlines and reading through, like the BBC, I think CNN, I'm not going to say that for sure, but I know like the BBC, they were calling right away, they had to say, and even the Guardian, Charlie Kirk, Trump ally, they had to throw that in there.
Yeah, of course.
Right away they had to politicize this. Obviously it is political. It's a political hit.
Yeah. It clearly was. Yeah.
Nobody wants to stand back and accept what led to this and what fueled this fire, which has been the division, hate, and messaging. We can't talk about anything, period. If you're conservative, you're attacked for anything, regardless. And right away you're labeled a nut job, a far right, a MAGA, whatever, just for having a difference of opinion. And a lot of times the needle isn't even that freaking far. It really isn't. It's just slight differences, and people feel that they have to go to these extremes. Like violence and death is exactly where we have to go. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for us, in America right now, but we're definitely on the wrong path. I'm not sure how we're going to write this at all.
It's scary.
It's very scary.
I mean, it's frightening to see how violent, and I feel like we've hit down this path, and it's like the stone rolling down the hill. It's just getting faster and more aggressive and more angry, and like who's next? What's the target? And
right.
I mean, literally, who's next?
That is the question. Who is next? And that, like I said, it's being politicized like crazy. Right away out the gate. Charlie never did anything to anybody. He never threatened anybody physically. Never threatened them, even in words.
Talk to everyone.
He just challenged the narrative. He just tried to get people to think outside their bubble and their little, safe space, I guess. They didn't like the fact that he was, for pro-choice. He has opinions about trans people, etc. But everybody does. But it doesn't mean he was calling for the death of these people. And the reaction now, because where we've been pushed as a nation, given all the rhetoric, all the political rhetoric, it's just boiling over. And on top of that, we have the other things that's been happening. We don't have to dive too deep into it, but like the murder of the 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee on the train, and how that's being not just politicized, but being turned into, the catalyst of a race war now. And, we can go into the data on that. I mean, there's been an increase of black and white crime and murder, but at the same time, who's pushing this narrative? Who's really asking for us to be divided based on race? I don't know if there's a civil war coming, or if there's just going to be, I don't know, a breakout of violence in general, based on assumptions and finger pointing. A lot of people feel like this action today regarding Charlie Kirk is a tipping point. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Um, I don't know, Manuel. Did you have any time to dive into any of this at all? Did you glean anything? Have anything to add to this?
Oh, what I was gonna say was that, I was trying to confirm if they actually caught the guy and, like, who he was, but they say they have a guy, but they won't say who he is or what
Mm.
his any information whatsoever, which I kind of find kinda strange because anytime it goes a certain way, there's just a Bible on whoever the hell the shooter usually is. It's, like, kinda weird to me that this is happening, but my thing with this is it took this many attempted assassinations to get anybody with the Democratic Party to even issue condemnations on these things. Because when something would happen, like with the healthcare guy, it was like, well, this is an eye opener for healthcare, not necessarily if that dude
You talking
was
about the
actually
United
a
Healthcare
good
CEO?
person
Mhm.
or whatever. Um, it's just those types of things. It just really boggled my mind. It was like, oh, now you guys, here we are, 5, 6 attempts or assassinations in, and now you guys are going to say, we should, condemn this now. Now it's time to actually come together. It just really, it really irked me. And then I was kind of going through the other side, the pod save assholes and all those guys. And Tommy Vitor is up there, and he's trying to basically equate every shooting as an issue and not addressing what just happened, just kind of dismissing it. And then he's like, well, we really got to stop with this rhetoric and pointing fingers at the other side. And it's like, you were the one pointing fingers at the other side, you and all your people. And all of a sudden, now we have to take a break. When you got your Maxine Waters, you got your Chuck Schumers, you got all these guys standing on in Congress throwing a fit. Oh, we're going to get you. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And they're like, it's okay because it's not going to lead to anything. And then when it does, it's like they don't want to talk about it. So it takes this many bodies to get you to notice it. And that shit just really bothered me today. It wasn't. Is it a tragic thing for Charlie Kirk? Yes, the whole thing is. It's all sad. A wife and 2 kids are going to bury their father, their husband, all of that. And that is tragic. His entire legacy, Turning Point USA, that whole thing's probably going to go under. No kid is going to have the courage to speak up in school anymore because they just iced the guy or off the guy, however you want to say it. And now the Democrats are going to come around and start talking like this. Oh, Bernie Sanders has put up a post. We got to stop this. It's like,
I, I
now
would
you care?
I would
You
almost just
fucking
say I would almost dare to say, man, like that's part of the plan almost, right? Like what you said, no one's going to want to stand up and speak now for fear of being killed for having, a conservative viewpoint or just a different opinion. Outside of the liberal think, I can't speak, excuse me. It's been a long day. But yeah, liberal groupthink. And that's a problem. That really is a problem. I I agree with you, man. I mean, it's all true. And then, I saw a post earlier today on social media, just multiple platforms, not just X, where there was videos of people saying, "Oh, well, Charlie was for Pro 2A. Well, guess what? Here's your
Yeah.
Pro 2A." Like,
He got
how do
what
you
he
even conflate
deserved.
those two issues and try right? Yeah, I'm with Dutch. It's like, come on, how are you even making that an argument?
Excessive.
How is that even any way for you to enforce that this was a good thing? And there was people
Yeah.
cheering for Charlie's death. Like, oh, Charlie Kirk died. Oh, whatever. He deserved it,
A
as
there's
if he
lot.
a
deserved it.
A lot of people were cheering.
there's a photo
That's
on
disgusting.
Yahoo News, some guy holding up a cardboard sign
Mm.
basically saying Charlie Kirk died, heart, awesome, and he's just standing in front of the tent. So they already had
Gross.
people there being retarded.
That's interesting. It's like there was, it just really seemed like, well, it didn't seem like it was. You can tell it was a planned. It just was absolutely a
NBC
planned
they're
assassination.
going NBC was sitting there going, "Oh, wait, how are we going to angle this?"
Mhm.
Because it's like, well, this is Trump's, he's known him since he was 18, he helped him, blah, blah, blah. So is Trump, who is sad now, is he going to turn more military on us? Is that was the angle? And it was like, the dude just got shot.
I read that actually. You're right. That
He's
was
not
the
even
angle.
cold. Yeah.
He ain't even got out of the hospital
Like,
yet.
oh, this is good. This is going to be the trigger for Trump to justify sending a National Guard to take over America. Basically, is what some people were saying.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
They're using it. He's going to use it as an excuse. That's astounding. It's astounding logic. The man was literally speaking. He was using his First Amendment right to speak. That's what he got shot for. Speaking. That's all he did. That's all he ever did. And people didn't like the words that came out of his mouth, and they shot him.
I think he hit it.
Like MLK, like anybody you disagree with, they just shoot you. And that's outrageously unacceptable. Like, why those words even have to come out? Like, you just disagree. You just go violent. Like, you can disagree with people. It's okay. That's the way we live. You can't just be violent.
You hit the nail on the head. I think it's what Charlie represented. That is the. I mean, outside of the loss of a human life, obviously, but what he represented was also the other tragedy. It's the blatant silencing of an opposing opinion and viewpoint. It's really what it was. Like you said, it's an attack on free speech in general.
Mm-hmm. It was a point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to be honest. I wasn't an avid Charlie Kirk fan. I didn't listen to every little podcast and everything he did, but I respected him. And whatever I did watch, you can't say that he wasn't an intelligent person. And he would always give people the benefit of the doubt. He would give them the time to, hey, you know what? Convince me. Yeah, let me hear your viewpoint. He was always willing to hear people out. Maybe he corrected people and they didn't want to accept that maybe there's a fallacy in their argument or their way of thinking. But, he never came at it from a point of view of hatred or trying to deliberately make people look stupid. It's like, I'm giving you the opportunity. And that's all he did. All he did was challenge narratives and open up conversation. I don't know. Jess, what do you think of what Charlie represented and what this means for guys like us and gals, who are podcasters? We're in the media and we're trying to do this thing and express ourselves and just get the word out. How do you think this is going to change the landscape for people like us?
I mean, I think it's going to make it. I think it's a double-edged sword. It's going to make it more difficult because there's going to be a lot less people that want to do it. But I think it's going to embolden more people that are doing it to keep doing it. I mean, I'm not going anywhere ever. I think it's going to, be the double edge where people are going to, people that want to are going to be afraid to do it. So, that's going to hurt all of it, obviously. But I still think there's going to be more people that are going to be, middle fingers in the air going at it. I think it's going to be one of, those things, but I don't know. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that all he did was show up and talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I hope
I never listened to his shows. I just saw clips while I was bored at like 1:00 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying, I still got to post this reel and I didn't schedule it. And she's like, you coming to bed? I'm like, in an hour. This stuff would come across, and even with people yelling at him, and he just sat there and like, okay, cool. What?
Yeah.
And he stayed mellow and calm, and he just talked. And the fact that that's literally, why we're here talking right now is because words have hurt your feelings, so much that we're now here again. I hate to say the word again, but I mean, it seems, a common thread in the last, decade or so, where it's just, if you hurt their feelings with words, shots will be fired, cities will burn to the ground. And the only thing that all of them have, because they've been so riled up to everything, and like you said, you hear it enough times, it's just suddenly the truth to them that, we're here, and they don't know how to respond with words. And when they don't have an argument most of the time, they just have their babbling bullshit. That's what it is most of the time. The second you immediately freak out, dear God, I was even being like you when you were talking about how, you go on Threads sometimes.
Right.
Like I was having one of those the other day on Facebook, just over nothing, because the guy commented. He was talking, I don't even remember what the hell. We were talking about the Venezuela thing. I was like, okay, well, like I get it, but were you this mad when Obama dropped like almost 11,000 bombs and drones drone strikes without any approval and killed like thousands of innocent people in Afghanistan. That's just Afghanistan. That doesn't count anywhere else. And their immediate response was, I'm protecting a pedophile. Like, that's a cool argument. Like, you have a wonderful day, because that's what it immediately turns into, is just something like, or not even that, when you just bring up like anything, mass shootings, school shootings, suicides, like you bring up the numbers and it's just immediate vile regurgitation of just pure bullshit, for lack of a better word. I mean, like, I know some of the most miserable people in the world that I served with. They're all horrifically disgusted at the fact that you can't even talk without being worried right now. And they make my misery look pretty fairly mundane. But like, everyone I know is like, except for like, people on social media, like, I just sent you a thing while we were doing this, because I saw someone post something and they were like wishing, the bullet that struck Charlie Kirk to have a pleasant day. And everyone just kept going, and it was literally on. I'm like, are you
horrifying?
I'm checking that.
How do you sleep at night?
Like, it's just like, it's just
right there.
How you're hateful.
Michael still wishing.
Like, how can you get that turn? Like, it's just words. Like, no one's saying anything.
You can disagree. It's okay.
Like, no one's being angry. No one's like, most of us are coming at you very calmly. Like, you don't have to be such just diabolically just hateful.
Yeah.
Like, there's things I hate. I'm not going to go out and make sure it doesn't exist anymore. Especially for words.
Yeah, but
words.
That's different. That's
stones,
not like a literal hate, right? That's more like I disapprove of, or I'm not into this, or whatever it is.
I just don't like all the hate and bullshit, because
you can't have a discussion. That's it. Nobody can discuss it.
We can't use words without you going on the like exploding.
Yeah.
Like, then there's no conversation. There's no reasoning. There's no anything. You're just nuts.
Well, Orange Man bad, so it doesn't matter what you say.
Cheeto
Godzilla Hitler is the worst thing ever, and they wonder why this
fascist.
is happening.
Don't forget that. Fascist.
We're all fascist.
By the way, we all are, and I have the definition saved on my phone just because I was bored. And it's amazing.
Fascist is
who
us.
Controls the narrative, and who controls the media, and
buzzwords. That's all they need.
Who's popping shots at people, and
I want to touch on
Bernie Burroughs back in the day, and
because you were talking about the facts and data, how it hurts people's feelings, which is true. Because Jesse, you and I have done that many times. Manuel, you're really good at pulling all that stuff up, and we'll do these deep dives, and we'll get in these arguments. Like what Jesse was alluding to earlier, by the way, Duchess, is I'll get into these debates on social media sometimes. I don't do it often, but Threads is the worst. I don't know what it is with Threads. You say one thing and you can go back. And sometimes I'm bored. I was like, I'll engage. Sure, I'll be your huckleberry. Let's go. And I'll just keep going and going and going.
Your huckleberry.
Until they finally give up, or I get tired. And I'm like, I'm out of here. This is boring. But even when you hit them with facts and data, Manuel and I just went through this on the last show we just did ourselves. It's like we had a response from somebody, and we literally like copy pasted what we looked up. Like, here it is, just to prove it. And the guy's still like, you guys are liars. It's like they're so bought in. I don't know if I want to say left wall. That's what it is. This whole thing's been politicized. Like, people who think opposite of people like us, basically the left, they're so bought into the to the group think of the narrative, is like they just will not accept being corrected or even open-minded to the fact that maybe their way of thinking is wrong. I mean, if I'm corrected, I'm fine with it. Hey, I know something I didn't. Sure, I was the wrong thing. But what you said, Jesse, is correct. It's crazy that we live in it seems like a hard left right. There's no center anymore. It doesn't seem like. Seems like that's going away. There's no way to be neutral anymore. It's like you have to absolutely pick a side. The other thing I was going to touch on, Jesse, is I hope when you were just talking about like us podcasters, people like us right here on this show currently, right? These people, you think that it'll drive people to want to do it more. Like, okay, I can say that might be a good thing, but be a rebel for the sake of being a rebel, right? Rebel yell, whatever. But the concern I have is, could this also drive certain people to go too far to the right and become that extremist that the left keeps warning everybody about? And then they could point their finger and go, see, I told you, these guys right here are dangerous. Right?
Mm-hmm. It's all part of the plan. It's all a big plan and a big book. Probably some binders with some page protectors.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, you're not wrong.
Sitting next to a
I mean, we're
DR
laughing,
chipper
but
just in case.
it's extremely plausible, man.
I
You
know.
No, it's
It's so
very-
ridiculous, but
Oh,
it's.
Well, 12-pack of highlighters.
Yeah. Well, point
Hey,
in case,
can't forget them.
if we pay
I don't forget
attention,
whiteboards and stuff too.
yeah, if we pay attention, they've been warning us. I mean, how many movies have we seen in the 90s and 2000s? Like, we look at it and we're like, oh, that's a crazy story. And then all of a sudden you see it happen in
Yeah.
real life.
I think that's
It's not just
I think that's
coincidence,
just
Manuel.
Huh?
It's not just coincidence.
no. I think it's inspiring people is what that is. It's like
It's probably
I
true.
can duplicate that.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure I can do that bank robbery just like that, but a little bit better.
So can we also say that's just an example of psychological conditioning? You know, the power of suggestion,
Mhm.
So
Uh,
Hollywood
the-
has got more pull than we thought.
right? Well, the more that you subversively suggest something and you get people to buy into it and not even think about it, but they can act on it because it's already in their subconscious, correct? So could that just be an example of that? What we were talking about earlier and how we even got here is through all this subversive messaging. Power of suggestion is
Right.
very strong.
There's lots of ways to get that though. I mean,
True.
it's you see it through, you figure through, entertainment, so movies, television, whatever, books, maybe. But then what I think it is, and boy, I hate to say this because I love it. I think social media, it's so easy to find people who think that way, and I think that you keep adding more and more to it, and it just develops. And as tech has gotten better, there's so many more ways to connect with people that agree with you and that kind of fuel that fire. And then now you have like bands and groups of insane people. I mean, they're insane to think like that and celebrate death of humans. That's crazy. And I think that feeds a lot of it. And they're all grabbing bits from everything, and it just fuels. It's again that rock that rolls downhill. It's fueling it, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. And it's nowadays it's hard to escape. I'll say news, whatever they report, but which isn't ever accurate. So you have to really search and find things. But once you find your group, they stay there. Which is why you have like all the protesters. It's like the same people. They just bus them to different places. They're all in their groups. So strength in numbers. And I think that's part of it.
I agree. Yeah, it just gets reinforced number by number,
Yep.
right? The bigger the group, the easier it
Mhm.
is to enforce.
It's an echo chamber. It's
Yeah.
just they all affirm each other.
And that as well. Yeah, absolutely. And that's social media these days. I've got an X
Right.
account, obviously. We all do, except for my
I
brother.
don't.
He decided he's not doing
Yeah.
anymore. But
Fuck that.
Oh, boom.
what's crazy is the misinformation. And it's a real thing, because I subscribe to a bunch of I guess they would consider like OSINT sites that'll send me information ahead of time. Like I'll get news on what's going on around the world on different things before most people do, for example. I'm not the only guy that does. There's other people that do. But anyway, I get these things. And I can already see what's happening. And then I'll see this post taken out of context already right away to drive a certain message that they want everybody to, agree on or say, it could be anything from like, oh yeah, that wasn't Russian drones that were in Poland over Polish airspace. It was actually Ukrainian drone. It's like, really? Because I have the reports and I have, Polish prime minister and the government confirming, and it's just crazy how it is. Everything from misinformation and geopolitics to racism, which is nuts. The problem is I'm going to quote Dan Bongino here. We live in a world of likes and clicks. Like, it's all likes, clicks, and snapshots, right?
Yep.
That's what it is. And it's happened to us too. Like, I don't know if it's happened to you, Kate. I know it's happened to Jesse. It's happened to Manuel and I to like, we'll get clips out of our episodes and then people just see that little 30-second snippet and just assume that's everything that we're talking about.
Yes.
It's like, no, we literally linked the entire episode. Like you could see the entire conversation, but you're taking this one little 30-second clip as the gold standard or the end all be all of what we're actually trying to say. No, we're just trying to get your attention so that you could then turn to the entire conversation and then you could form your opinions based on the conclusions after you've actually heard what we're talking about. So I think social media has turned into something kind of dangerous, not going to lie. I mean, it seems like more people are only using it now because it's a way to promote and get the word out, especially for companies and marketing and things like, what we do with podcasting. And it's a good, cheap, easy way to get the word out is all it is. But it's also a very dangerous narrative. So Do you think that what happened today is going to lead to possibly the enforcement of limiting free speech and also enforce new
Yes.
laws that might, just like the UK, oh, wait a minute,
Yes.
that post was hate speech. You can't say that. Now we're going to have to
Still
live.
yes.
Yep. We're going to live in a nation of, living in between these guidelines. Like everything we say is going to be within these blinders. And if it's outside of that, we go to jail. Manuel, go ahead, weigh in. You're already saying yes.
Yes, it will. Come on, you give the Democrats a lane. They're going to take it. They're going to pull the 230 when they get congressional control, and then they're going to start the laws. They're going to start cracking. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But I do want to turn the car a little bit on something. I just want to ask a question here. Because the bulk of what Charlie Kirk has been on recently has been transgenderism, as most of the podcasty righties are. And do you think that because transgenders, it appears that they really want to matter and they want to exist. Do you think that they're taking this way too far? Like there should be they got to figure out a better way because they keep inciting violence, or as in, like the church shooting people now. Could this possibly be someone from that community, a father, or even someone who is a transgender that is pulling the trigger on this stuff? Like, I'm just curious. Like, are these guys even trying? I don't know. Maybe I'm not wording it right, but it's just.
Are you asking if this particular assassination attempt had to do
I'm talking
with
about it
someone?
in a general sense. Like these guys are going straight to violence.
Okay.
Like now, why are they not going the other way? Is this like a mental thing? Maybe that's a better way of saying it. Is it mental? Are they on too many drugs?
I
Because they're
have a
chopping
lot
off
to say
body
on that one,
parts?
but I'll let one of you other two weigh in first. And I'm not trying to be funny. I know this is a serious episode, but
Welcome to my version of the show where I just have an incoherent question. It's got an avenue, but I haven't landed the plane.
but that's
Somebody
what
help
we
me.
need. It gets us. It's fine. Look, now you're going to have us talking about another topic, but also very related.
Subtle.
Yeah, very very subtle there, Manuel. Thank you. Do you
Appreciate
have
that.
anything to say on this topic, Duchess, at all? I know you do.
It's a difficult topic. I think it's the weird thing about it is it's weird, but it's such a tiny percentage of our population that has caused utmost chaos. And I think that a lot of them have gone to violent extreme measures. I mean, what you see with some of the shootings coming up, the behavior's violent. If they're young and they're getting all these drugs, you can't put that into children. You just can't. And if someone truly believes they're in the wrong body, I think you have to get through your normal growth cycles through as a child. And I think at 18, you get counseling. If that's the path you want to go, then go. You can't flip that switch back. And I think if there are people who were encouraged very early to transition or get drugs, because now it's the easiest thing, because now you can get all medical coverage for it. So, which I think is kind of creepy that the medical field is encouraging it because now they get paid. Back in the old days, you had to do a lot of therapy before you could get that stuff. And now they're just flinging it at kids because their moms say, yeah, he wants to be a girl. So I guess to wrap this all up, yeah, I think there's a lot of violence in that, unfortunately, in the I guess the TQ part of it, and it's sad. I if someone truly believes that, I'm all for it. I don't care. Like you do you. I'm happy if you're happy, but I think you have to be an adult. And I think influencing people with a lot of drugs and their brains are just not ready. I mean, Lord, I grew up with I'd raised 2 girls, so I mean, hormones are crazy at that age and throwing all kinds of crazy stuff of meds and mixed up feelings. Not good. Not good.
Yeah, it's true. Jesse, you
Way
got
better
anything?
than what I would have done. Thank you.
I'm following him.
You're
I
good.
grew up in a house full of all the women. What?
Yeah.
Hormones are nuts.
Mhm.
I had to be the middle of those siblings.
Oh my.
Wait till your brain can, your brain's too young until what? You're in like your mid-20s allegedly to be able to, fully, grown in your prefrontal cortex and all those things that I keep smashing off of things. And I think it's caused much more chaos than it's done any good in anything.
Yeah.
Because those drugs, sorry, they shouldn't be in people, let alone people that are, the size of my microphone.
Little people. Yeah.
Leave them alone.
Okay. You know what's crazy is, to me, is we're all in agreement and we're all kind of going to, like, I agree with both of you. Manuel, I know you think pretty similar. But we all agree, like, I don't think anybody cares if you truly, truly, truly feel and believe that you are in the wrong body. The problem is, as we all know, or at least I think so, is, and I'm sure you guys all do too, is introducing these ideas to young children who are not yet developed and able to even understand the decisions they're making.
Mhm.
A child
Absolutely.
does not just wake up and go, I'm a girl or a boy.
Nope.
They have to go through a maturation process. They have to go through their hormonal changes. And after that, they kind of settle into what they are. So, when you're about 17, 18, I can see where people are like, okay, I know I'm gay or whatever, or you're already having these inclinations of, I feel I'm in the wrong body. And then when you get in your 20s and you're old enough, do what you got to do. But there's no way anyone could convince me ever in education that we need to be teaching these things to kindergartners or
No,
third
not at all.
graders or
Highly
second graders.
inappropriate.
There's no
Mhm.
reason to even introduce that thought. And that's what it is. Introduction of these thoughts is what's making these children believe this. And
Sexualizing
they're
them
only
so
doing it because
early.
they want to please the adults. They want to say, oh, I'm doing the right thing. That is exactly what the problem is. And so, Manuel, when you're saying, is this an issue? Because Charlie Kirk was focusing on the trans issue for so long. Yeah, it is. I think this is a big part of it. But, this has been something all conservatives have had an issue with. But a true conservative doesn't really care if that's who you truly feel you are. We just don't believe it should be done when you're a child. A child, again, a child, just because a child plays with a boy, for example, plays with a doll
Mm.
when they're 4 or 5, they're not really even comprehending. They're like, oh, this is my friend, this is whatever. Let them go through their thing. They're not even there yet. To them, it's a toy. They're not thinking of it at the level an adult is thinking of that situation. Charlie Kirk probably did trigger that. Also, given, like you said earlier, man, the trans shooter, in Minneapolis, what happened there. And that was another incident that got politicized for no reason. Rosie O'Donnell comes out and right away says, oh, this was a MAGA right-wing
Yeah.
white person. Like, how in the fuck do you even get that out of all the reports? If you look at the
Well,
journals,
Rosie O'Donnell's useless. So.
she is.
Yes.
If you look through the shooter's journals, everything is outlined on how they felt. They were a person that didn't feel themselves, their place in the world. They took out their angst and anger on the world and on children. And the reason I believe they did that, I'm not a psychologist, but is because that person, Robin Westman, which was Robert, felt that they were saving the children from making the decisions that he had to make, or she, or whatever you want to call them. And I think that's what happened there. It had the drawing of where he saw the reflection of himself as a demon. So yeah, and going back to what you said earlier, man, or your question was, yeah, there is a mental instability, I think, in some of these people. And I'm not saying it's widespread for everybody, but as what Kate said earlier, Dutch is like these medications, and I did a little bit of research on this recently, and I know, Jesse, you've been looking at this as well. We're looking at the ramping up of SSRIs being used, psychotropics and whatnot. All of this happened during the 2000s to 2024. And within that time period, you could see the increase in doubling of school shootings and whatnot. Now, as far as trans shooters go, since we're going to talk about that, there really hasn't been that large of a number captured data yet to say one way or the other that, yes, there is a large number of trans shooters. But if we're looking at recent times, you do start to see the correlation and increase between trans people or people who don't want to identify as a gender and shooters as of now. But still, that number does not outweigh the 570-something school shootings between 2000 and 2024. But you are starting to see an increase. So, I don't know, Manuel. Honestly, this could have been a person who was trans, had a child that was trans, somebody, maybe this was a person that was triggered by what Charlie was doing, and then it just got exasperated by what happened with the shooting in Minneapolis, and here we are. It's very plausible.
Yeah.
Very plausible. I know that was a long way of answering your question, but
Hey,
I wanted to get everybody's input first, and make sure that, everybody had a chance to speak on that. It was a good question. It really was.
well, because it's been the last, safe to say, last 5 or 6 of these, there's been a transgender link.
Yes.
So that's why I was like, I'm wondering, like, is this like a drug, too many drugs? Is this, these guys just want to matter and they're choosing the dumbest way possible to like try to get noticed? It's like, it's just very puzzling to me that these guys are this aggressive. So there's got to be some reason for it. I guess that's what I was getting at.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to dive into the psychology of these individuals, but I mean, lack of place, lack of acceptance, confusion in their decision and who they are. I mean, that has a lot to do with it. And when
Probably a lot of similar profiles.
Yeah, and if you're not getting the help, right, the
Yeah.
mental help and whatnot, you're going to eventually explode and take it out. It's like bottling in everything for, let's say, 20 years. And that you just have that one person or moment that triggers whatever it is in you, and all of a sudden you just become this violent gorilla out of nowhere and start ripping everyone apart. And I think that's a lot of what we're seeing right now, and why maybe we're seeing the increase in correlation between a trans person and these murders. But I don't want to make this conversation necessarily just targeting trans, because that's not my intention at all. But we can't ignore the data either. So
I have another take on it. I feel like, again, growing up in the 80s, you dealt with, it was bullying and that sort of thing. Nobody, at least that I knew of, or at least at that time, there wasn't really school shootings. That maybe you never heard about it. I don't recall it. But I feel like as a Gen X generation, but say the further generations after that, millennials and then Gen Zs, I don't feel like they understand how to process their feelings or work things out. Like I don't want to make it like generational, but I felt like we just kind of had to work through stuff, just as that's kind of how we did it. And then I felt like maybe the pendulum has swung with parents where it was almost too encouraging, or it was too, the participation trophies and all that. And I hate to bash on that, but I feel like there's like a whole generation that just can't handle things. Like my girl, I'll use my girls as an example. Sorry, kids. But, it got to the point where I was like, oh, why don't you call and order a pizza? They're like, well, I'll do it online. I'm like, why? They're like, we don't want to talk to people. I'm like, you just pick up you have a phone. Use your phone. They don't like communicating. And they use the phone for everything. But so I feel like we had to, like when growing up, if you wanted something done, you had to talk to somebody and make it happen.
Interaction.
Nothing was at your fingertips. That they have to, and I think things are so easy to reach or do or whatever that they don't talk, they don't process, they just stay in their rooms, they stay on their phones. I hate to, again, I'm not kicking social media because I love it for the good that it is and the fun that it is, but it has such an evil side to it. And I feel maybe that's got a lot to do with these kids just don't know what to do. They can't process anything and they just snap, and
I think
how they get guns
point.
is a whole nother thing.
So the lack of actual social and physical interaction.
Yeah,
really.
None of that.
And you're speaking on a generational thing. I hate to pull the generational stuff up because everyone's always like, oh, you're a boomer, this or that. Like, oh, your day. Great. We all did, even we did. But at the same time, it's like there is a clear difference between how we would grow up. We did have to be forced outside. We did have to interact. We did have to work things out in a social setting, which is part of growing up, just as you would in the animal kingdom, for example. A pride of lions. They got to figure out who's the alpha, who's going to be the huntress, and all of that. That stuff gets worked out. And if you're never in that situation, you're avoiding it and being coddled and isolated, you're not going to know how to deal with those feelings. So that's very plausible, actually. So, yeah, good point on that.
It is.
You got anything to add,
Anna
Jesse?
laughs at me about it all the time. Yeah, we were just laughing about it the other day.
Yeah.
It's like, you're from the generation that just had to figure it out. I'm like, Mom, I was like, guess what? Figured everything out. What? Me at like 7. Mom's like, I don't know what to do. It's like,
my parents never
I was at 7
us.
going, fuck it, I'll figure it out. What? And then I'd sit there all day and guess what? I figured it out, and I dealt with all
That's
that
right.
weird stuff.
And no
And guess
internet
what?
to
It
tell
turned
you
me
how
into
to
the
do it.
menace that I am today. But I'm a useful menace,
As long as
and
you're
I
useful.
might have a little bit of patience. Yeah, lack of patience for people that can't just stop for 9 seconds and figure it out. But I mean,
Mhm.
I'll blame the Marine Corps for that. Takes 9 seconds. You're taking up about 5 extra minutes of my life. Go. And then I get mad. Like, what? Give me 3 minutes. What? I don't know. I'll figure it out. And then I do. She's like, why don't you show me? It's like, well, because I have to be there and I have to do it. And well, you won't retain it anyway. You'll just yell at me again. So what? We just had to figure it, out. There wasn't a million things to tell us how to do everything. So we could just isolate and stare at our phone and figure it out. We just had to go and do it.
No Google.
Yeah. Oh my
No
God.
Google. No nothing.
There's the other side to this though, guys. Okay, we did have to figure it out, right? We can argue that there's the medication side of it, which is been documented.
Definitely
We can
not.
also say that there is a lack of socialization and isolation that leads to the type of people that are willing to commit these violent acts. Here's the other side of this, though. Who's enforcing this or reinforcing it? It's the grown adults like us, right? Not necessarily us here, as right now talking, but our politicians who aren't even, most of them in our generations. A lot of these people are in like their 70s and 80s, man.
Yeah, they're the greatest generation.
Right.
Old.
But they're willingly going out and reinforcing this type of behavior, this isolation, this coddling, this everyone gets a trophy bullshit. And so who do we hold accountable, right? The parents now, if you look at the social economical situation we're in, especially the economical situation, there is no such thing as a single parent that earns everything, that can pay for everything right now. It's just, man, and you got, Dutch, you can weigh on that, Manuel, I know you can, but it's just not that possible anymore. Not really. And so everybody's busy, everyone's working. Some parents don't even take the time to deal with the child. They want to drop them off at whatever care facility, shove them into sports, if they even do that anymore, keep them busy with whatever activities, and then the actual parental interaction is extremely limited. So I think parents want to be good parents, but they're also juggling having to pay bills and keep a roof over kids' heads. And then you also get the reinforcement of our politicians and everybody else, putting these laws into place that are counterproductive to being a parent. So it's like, yeah, okay, correct. I agree with all of you, by the way. It's like there's the isolation, there's the medication, but then are we not to blame as well for reinforcing these behaviors and these methods of raising and controlling the children to be a certain way?
You have to be active. You have to be an active parent. You can't, that's your job. Like that's what it frustrates me when I go out. Like I'll go to lunch or go to dinner and I see a table with mom, dad, kids, whatever, and everybody's on their phones. Like, and look, I'm on my phone all the time. I love it. But my girls are grown out the door. I can do that. If I want to sit and ignore my husband and he wants to ignore me for a little bit, that's fine. We're adults. We can deal with that. But, and again, maybe it's just that moment, but just that nobody's talking, and the kids are watching the parents are on their phone. Like there's nobody's interacting. So the parents could be the ones who've grown up with minimal interaction and now they're not interacting. So now that's becoming the norm. That's the society that's coming up, or people who don't know how or choose not to interact. I see little kids in the store with a tablet, mom's shopping, kids on the tablet. Like, are you kidding? You can't go to and again, I don't want to judge because I've certainly there's times where I'm like, oh my God, please just stop talking here. Here's something, and I get it. But I think maybe it's helpful to talk to your child, even just dopey things for littles.
Well, what you said about being constantly on the phone and their tablets, whatever, like all they're doing is consuming social media, watching TikTok and
what's being reinforced,
Instagram, whatever,
all that crap.
Their brains are being programmed, and maybe that is a huge contributor to why we're at where we are now. And it just took the event of today for Charlie Kirk to die for people to actually start talking about this, because all of a sudden everybody is talking about this. Suddenly, like Manuel, you said earlier, everyone suddenly cares. Now we want to discuss it.
Now, how long will they care, though?
Exactly.
Give it about 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, till tomorrow, where it's 9/11.
We laugh, but it's true. That's the problem.
Yeah, 9/11 is going to be a big old spread, and then we'll bury it. Yeah.
Yeah. And nobody's talking about the school shooting today. There's a school shooting today in Colorado.
Yes,
There was
been-
also an active shooter in. Let me see if I got this right. I forgot. There was a university active shooter also walking. Kyle actually told me about it. I forgot what university it was, but there was another incident going on. Nothing happened, but
Right.
there was another active shooter that was spotted, or at least someone walking around with a weapon.
Today.
Yeah, you saw
It's
that?
crazy.
I was all over the place today, but suddenly I got done doing a delivery and I told my phone to get out of drive mode. And I looked and it's like, you have 73 notifications. I'm like,
What?
God damn, I hope I didn't. But okay. What, my sister was in there. What, Marines were in there. I'm like, okay, but oh no, that's the oh no. Like, normally the only people that bother me are telemarketers telling me that I can get a good debt consolidation loan.
Right.
Suddenly it's like, you got 73 notifications. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Something.
And of course, it was just people sending me the video like I needed to see that 147 times.
Right.
Awesome.
But yeah, I completely missed, like, I was in my own little world until I wasn't, because my phone and social media are just a tool to share things and irritate every single person that I know. Because they're like, why do you keep sharing it all the time? I'm like, well, why don't you share it? Why? Boom. It gets in front of your people. You leave me alone. I leave you alone. But people don't see it as like that kind of tool. People like, and I walk around the store all day. There's kids on phones, tablets. The kids that don't have ones are freaking out. And they see me just standing by them with my cart going. I'm like, don't. And there's two little devils, one on each shoulder, going, just do it. Like, I don't need to yell at them. I mean, and Hannah, in her defense, tells me it's like our generation, like of parents that are just, pushing that off. And she tells me it's like, we had to figure everything out. So now, we're just, here you go. Cause we're doing our own thing and doing all that. And there wasn't a lot of, maybe it was just me. I don't know. But she has seen the correlation. Tells me, well, it's your generation's parents. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. But it's not. Don't blame my people. Even though
Don't blame my people.
Kind of our fault.
So then here's a question. Probably the question I don't know. How do we move forward? Because apparently nobody trusts legacy media. We were just discussing how people bury their heads into their phones, their tablets, children, right? Consuming all of this. And we've already discussed that there is a lot of misinformation out there and narratives being pushed to honestly program the people. I mean, this is taken out of the communist playbook, by the way. It's something that Russia has used. It's many communist nations have used to program people. I'm not saying that's intentionally what our government is doing, but is there hope? Do any of you think that us as Americans and people are smart enough, hopefully still intelligent enough, to step back, look at all this and realize they're being lied to? That no, I don't really hate my neighbor who's black or brown or whatever color. I don't hate trans people or gay people. No, I don't hate an opposing opinion because, you believe in pro-choice and someone else doesn't. Do you think that Americans are smart enough to step back and realize that, we're all actually Americans? It takes all of us, and that despite our differences, we can still move forward? I mean, because look, even in relationships and even in marriages, even husbands and wives have differences. We're not all lockstep. We all have our own opinions and views, but we learn to live together and get along. So what do you all think? Is America ready for that? Is this the event that forces people to step back and actually call the bullshit?
I mean, I don't know if it's the event.
I hope so.
Manuel, you're so negative.
Hey,
He said, nah.
someone has to be, okay?
No, it's not.
I'm trying to have hope.
But seriously, guys, go ahead.
I think
go ahead, Jesse.
whichever one wants.
No, go ahead.
He has a
You're already
Batman
talking.
hat, so he's cooler than me, so he goes.
Damn. All right, Manuel.
Well, if that's true, then I'll be cool all the time.
You have to say it like
you will.
Batman, though.
Like
I
ice?
can't. I don't have
Batman.
There you go.
No, my answer to that is no, because we just mentioned how tomorrow it's going to go away because of 9/11. They're going to have their memorials and everything, and we're going to forget about it. And every politician got their points in today. I mean, it's going to get buried just like the Ukrainian girl. That's going to get buried in a few more days, and we're going to just go right back to making mistakes. that's just where it is. And I personally think technology has killed society. We think it's a good, but it turns out it's not, because
Amen.
I don't know how generations work. I don't know what I am, but I think it's my son would be the generation behind me. He's, what is he, 24 would be whatever that
He's Gen
generation is,
Z.
but he's
Yeah.
a Z.
Mhm.
Poor
Anyway.
fucker.
I have one. That's why.
Okay, so Z. Okay,
got
so
one.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so our generation experienced the parenting that we were talking about, where figure it out. You're going to get a paddle upside the head, grounded. You're going to get some, actual punishments. This generation coming up behind us is like, I don't like that. I hated it, so I'm not going to give it to my kids. So now you're going to be lesser than and lighter and whatever on that. And then you got a bunch of doctors with ideas. Every parenting book that keeps coming out, it's like you can't, if you hit them or if you discipline them in a hard way, you're steering them towards hatred of you, or you're not teaching them anything because they'll go right back to it. You have to talk to them. You have to negotiate. You have to, get down on their level if they're short, or you have to, like, basically, what is that word? Coddle, hold them through, And then technology shows up and it's like the kids screaming. It's easier to give them an iPhone than it is to do your
Correct
job
them.
as a parent. And then I also think there are people that have made mistakes to become parents and they shouldn't be parents anyway. But that's just I just feel like in 30 years, Idiocracy is going to be a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
That movie will
Totally
be
agree.
true.
We're living through it
and
now. I'm waiting for the Gatorade on the grass.
It's going to happen. I'm telling you.
It's coming.
And everybody, if you remember Wall-E, we're going to be fat guys and girls on a flatbed with a headset, and it's going to tell us, what's going on. Here's your happiness for the day or whatever.
All right, so let me challenge that a bit.
No, leave the bleakness. Leave it. Leave it.
Leave it miserable.
I can't. I can't.
I want this building burning. End on that.
Well, my question still stands, but what I wanted to touch on is the idea or what you're implying is that the parents don't want to deal, like our parents did it to us, so we don't want to do it to our children. I'm not sure I buy that.
You're still. We've talked about this years ago.
Listen,
you're still taking the same position.
Hear me
no one
out
likes
on
you.
this.
Stop.
Hear me out on this. I don't think it was the parents. Okay, so who drives the narrative for parents? If we really think about this, the school systems, the school psychologists, right?
So it's
when all these new books came out on how to teach the new generation, right? Through how you handle a child in the classroom, and then that messaging gets sent to or taught to the parents through counseling and other things like that. I think that is what changed it. It wasn't one day, like, let's say, Duchess, you woke up, or Manuel, and you guys were like, I didn't like how I was raised, so therefore I'm not going to do it to my child. No, the school systems told you can't do X, Y, and Z. And if you guys think back to that, when you put your younger children in school, I know for a fact you had those conversations. I know your kids came back and even parroted that narrative. So, and I see it.
Okay, so the person getting the heavy discipline and the spankings and whatever from the mom and the dad is that influence into not doing it doesn't exist. It's the school and the doctor.
Yeah, it's the school psychologists who are setting the standard on how you should raise and teach a child and handle a child. For example, let's go throw this out there. Managing a Navy install at a junior high. Child there that I'm not sure the condition, but basically it's at the point that even in the school system, and the parent can't do anything either. This kid has an inclination that he just goes crazy when he sees ladders, anything like that. He will run and escape. I got guys on the lift trying to pull wire and change out a projector. These guys are like 20-something feet in the air. This kid escapes, runs, tries to climb up the damn scissor lift.
Oh
right?
my God.
And guess what happened? Nobody grabbed the child. Nobody would do anything. They just try to corral him and be like, oh, please come down. Please do this. Please do that. It starts in the school systems, because once you drop your child off, that's that's where they're learning these things. And that's when they take them back to you at the house. And without even knowing it, you're falling in line. So that's my theory. And that's what I
Can you
see.
at least partially agree with my statement, sir? I feel better.
Okay. So I'm not saying you're wrong, but what I'm saying is I think that's where it started for like our generation. We were having kids. I think some smart ass psychologist somewhere goes, hey, I'm going to change this. I'm going to flip the script and now I'm going to push this agenda. And then it just caught fire. But to your point, Mel, yeah. Okay. Listen, if you're raised to where you're getting beat by a cane every day because you can't do anything right by your father, for example, then yeah, you're not going to want to do that to your kid, or you shouldn't. So yes, I agree with you on that one.
Finally, victory. All right.
But again, how do we move forward? Is America going to be smart enough to pull back and look at all of this and try to realize that we need to come together? Aside from you, Manuel, who says no.
I'd like to hope it does. But it's one of those, I don't know how, I think people there's tragic, horrific events every day. And I think people are numb. This was graphic enough where it could probably grab. I think everybody's probably seen the video. The fact that there was an extremely close-up video, that is very disturbing. And at this point, I'm sure everybody who has an internet connection has probably seen it. I don't want to speak for him, but I would assume that maybe Charlie Kirk would be like, please learn from this, because don't let it be in vain, sort of a thing. And again, I was never a huge Charlie Kirk fan. Like some of his things I agreed on, a lot of them I disagreed on. Certainly shouldn't be murdered for your beliefs, but I would hope that something good can come out of that this terrible thing that maybe, you can't be afraid to speak your mind no matter what. As podcasters, it's a scary thought, like somebody just doesn't like what you say. They're going to find you, they'll dox you, they'll look for you,
right?
Make your life a living hell. But I would hope that people can somehow band together and use this to do better. I don't know. It may not happen immediately. I think it's gonna take time. But I think the people who follow Charlie Kirk or agree with what he says, they need to come together and they need to put I didn't agree with everything from Turning Point, but I think it shouldn't fail. I think they should keep it going, and hopefully they can, because I think that would show people that just because Charlie's not here, we're not going to let this go down.
I agree with you. And I think, Manuel, what you said earlier, by the way, when we were talking about the attempts, like it took so many attempts for people to actually start talking about this, how people are and how they feel. And what you just said, Duchess, about, as podcasters, like, can we continue to speak our mind, especially conservative podcasters? And I experienced some of that. I never got doxxed, but, when I had Dan Bermawi on and we were talking about Islam, it was like, you would not imagine the amount every day of hate messages I got from anybody just for having a discussion about a political theology. They can call it a religion, whatever they want. I can get that another day with you guys if you want. But, you can't seem to have an opinion with certain extremist groups, period. And I'm going to be so bold as to say, I think the left are just an extremist group at this point. And I'm tired of pulling my punches and being nice and trying to stay neutral in what I say. At this point, nobody else is. Someone's got to stand up and call bullshit out for what it is. And if we're never, ever going to stand up and say, no, that is the wrong way to think or the wrong way to do things, they're just going to keep doing it. And then it just becomes normalized like it is now.
That's normal. That's crazy.
That is what's crazy.
Like expected. You say something, you're like, oh, I know the left's going to come out with something wacky.
Yeah. And like when Manuel was pointing out earlier, everybody that was celebrating.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah. They're celebrating his death. Because he was this evil person that just didn't agree with everything that you thought.
Evil, celebrating the death of a monster.
He was the downfall of the world. Charlie Kirk,
a murderer. Right? Yeah.
Made no sense. Made no sense. All right, I'm going to start wrapping this up. If you guys have anything else to add, I don't want to keep you all too much longer. I know you guys are both on the East Coast, so I want to be respectful of that time.
I don't sleep.
You don't sleep? Well, I'll leave it up to you guys to call it. But if you guys have anything else to say,
Jesse. Yeah. You haven't given us your positive spin though.
That I think to try to be the optimist in all of this clusterfuck of pessimism. then hopefully it does. Because I mean, we've seen enough, some turning with a lot of things, and some places in that place that I used to call home of New Jersey. No offense. It's not you. It's my father's family.
I understand.
They're those people. But
I'm sorry.
I just think that, we've seen changes in, some districts that have been like blue for, forever. And I'm going to take that as hopefully the small little piece of positivity to go, forward with everything that things did seem to be, turning in what in the flying fuck is going on direction. And I think, hopefully, as an optimist, which I'm not, I hope for the best. I expect it's going to be a complete shit show. Today proved that. But I at least hope that some of those things that we saw, lately, at least in elections in places that should not be red at all, that maybe, this will, galvanize that, because I think a lot of people, at least, in the middle that we don't have, we really don't have it, but, like we saw, some numbers in like independents and that be like, no. And they've, switched to the other side and, didn't go for, look at her numbers. And, shit, a couple months ago, she got mauled everywhere. A lot of people, I hope, at least, because they saw everything that was happening, switched over. And I hope that, this at least, helps to galvanize people to keep going in, that direction and stop, going after just headed towards disaster. Because again, the same people that tell us that we shouldn't be able to buy cigarettes till we're 21 are saying you should be able to transition when you're 4. And, that's absolute bad shit.
And go fight
crazy.
for your country at 18.
And I think they've pushed enough stupid shit that at least enough stuff started headed in a positive direction with that. Now, granted, is it going to happen overnight? No. I'm a fond believer this is going to take a while to, get rid of all of this just utter chaos and stupidity. But, the optimist in me hopes that, we're going to keep going in the right direction, that this is going to, at least be a, positive thing, and people, don't, that they're not afraid to speak out and, be like, that's some bullshit. And that people, keep doing their thing, and, things start turning around. But it's so fucked up now, it's going to take, a while to spin it around. I mean, it takes a long time to right the ship of the people that are celebrating this right now. Like, I don't think you can fix that. But, you can fix everyone else. If you're celebrating that, I mean, like, there's no help for you. I've been near enough crazy people, like utter crazy people. Been in the middle of enough PTSD breakdowns, and people are absolutely just having fucking nuclear-sized like attacks on themselves in their brain. Yeah. But if you can spin them around, I think you could spin around. You can help the people that aren't just batty, but the people that celebrate this, they're gone. There's no saving that. Sorry. There's my pessimism. Those people are fist fucked. There's no saving that. They're FUBAR. They're more FUBAR than I am.
Fist fuck with a studded
medical
glove,
records like 6 inches thick. What those people are FUCKEDAGAIN. Today they proved that they are fucked again.
Yep.
Take that, Marine Corps cadence.
Well, midterms are coming, so I mean,
I think that
horrific.
I think that the greatest thing that I keep seeing is that dumb shit that you guys deal with every day. The slick back hair and the tan. Like, he's going to be the greatest thing. Like, if people really didn't like Kamala, like, there's not an absolute snowflake's chance in hell that he's going to do anything. Like, because he's just, the people have turned against the batshit.
Just be careful.
And he takes her batshit up to like 9,000.
You're going to trigger Manuel, and we're going to have a 3-hour discussion on Gavin Newsom.
But he's Batman.
I see him over there. He's like,
I got a little ABC news.
Here we go. Hold on.
ABC News blurb here.
Got an update?
The manhunt is on. The person they were talking to is not the guy.
Jesus Christ.
Of course.
Oh, I got a lot of those. I I
Yeah,
got the
whoever they were talking
screenshots.
to
I
was
got
Okay,
all
so,
the
so the
headlines.
first person they said was not the one they originally arrested there. They said he
Right.
was just distracting, right, or obstructing
Uh-huh.
justice.
Mhm.
Then they had another person of interest that they did arrest, and now they're saying that that's not the person.
No. So the manhunt is on.
So
They're
Cash
looking for him.
Patel said, "We have him."
Right.
Yeah, and then they talked to him, and that's not him.
Why would you say that then?
I don't know. I'm
He's
tired
Cash
of.
Patel.
I'm
He's gotta
tired of
have
their
it.
nonsense.
I
I
don't-
believe who was it? But
With the Epstein
NBC put out
records.
a
This
NBC
this
put out
whole
a
thing
post
is
that said they
really
don't have them,
Yeah.
and then the AP minutes before that said that the FBI says that they do have them.
Yeah.
No one knows what the hell is going on. That's the
No.
problem with this actual thing.
Well,
no one
this
knows
hand in
a
that hand. No, I
fucking
don't.
thing.
and you know
Want to
this,
know why? Because everything sucks.
this is the type of things where it
I don't trust the Fed.
it makes you believe that these conspiracies are real. Let's just be honest. Stuff like this because it's like
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just a theorist.
right.
They all keep coming true.
Well, they know how Charlie's setups are.
Yeah.
I mean,
this
they're pretty basic for every campus.
Yeah,
He has a few
yeah.
security. They have some cops.
And to everybody,
3,000
that,
people.
I'm sure you guys all saw them on social. If you were looking, everyone just talking, shit about like his security was lax. I'm like, well, he's talking to people at a college campus. I mean,
Right.
he's not like, I don't know, the president of the United States when we're going, he's got a gun, he's got a gun, he's got a gun. Holy shit, he has a gun. And the Secret Service just sits there and stares at them until,
Yeah.
like he's talking to people on a college campus.
It's something
Yeah.
that he's done
have to
time and time
worry
again.
about someone popping his, like for the
Ellie.
love of
Yeah.
Christ, this is America.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, go the fuck home. Don't be a miserable. I'm not going to say any of the words because she is here, and well, I'll be
she doesn't
nice and
care.
respectful.
Damn.
You should hear
Or
my
I'll save them
podcast.
for this. This has beautifully sped me up because she's like, you look like you're catatonic right now. Before I came on here, and now I'm going to record my stuff after this, which means I'm going to throw all. Just, I am alive. I don't know if it's the cigars, the conversation, the beautiful street noodles that I had, but I'm ready. But I don't know. Like, I don't like any of it. I think it all stinks. And even if I have people that I kind of trust, like at least in some positions compared to where they've been in recent years, which everyone just absolutely sucked. Because they sucked under Obama, so why wouldn't they suck the second time around? Like I don't know. I think it's going to be a couple days before we get anything fucking useful out of any of this. Because so far I've heard they've had the guy like 3 times, and turns out every single time they didn't have dick.
Not the
So,
guy. Yeah.
What do you know?
It's starting to already
God bless America.
cover up. It really is already.
Doesn't it smell? It smells so bad.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing pleasant that I can say right now.
No. Mal, you got anything else?
No, I got to go back to being a parent with a 9-year-old.
Right. Let's start let's start wrapping this up. And all I can say right now is I thank all you guys for even coming on. I know this was all last minute. I just felt that we needed people to discuss this, like-minded individuals, and this was something that for me it was something to discuss because we're all podcasters. We're all in this independent media space, and I gotta say, hey, obviously I don't know Charlie, don't know his family, but nobody wants to see his wife and child go through this. And I just say rest in peace, Charlie. And I gotta say I at least respect everything he contributed as an independent media person, as well as what he stood for in free speech. And we can't deny that contribution whatsoever. And none of that was a reason for him to be murdered or assassinated. Let's just call it what it is.